Hey rail fans, this is Bob from DeBob's NScale Man Cave. Back to you with the second video. This time I'm going to show you what I did to my Kato NScale Alaska Railroad Smoothside cars. I installed a light kit in them. But first, I want to show you what's on my shirt. It says, "Not made in China." That's right, Kato is not made in China. It's made in Japan. I've heard a lot of good things about Kato. I've seen a lot of good things about Kato. They may not be as detailed as you would expect, but I find they're pretty reliable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to put in a light kit. And the light kit is this one right here. Kato 11212 LED Interior Lighting Kit, version 2. This is a 6-pack, so I've got 6 light kits, about 2 of these packs, so I could fit lights into all 10 of my Smoothside cars. And what I'm going to show you specifically is how to put in a lighting kit into the coach car. It is probably the easiest one to do because it slid right in pretty easily. I'm also going to show you the interiors of the dome observation car. As you can see, that's not too bad. I'm also going to show you the interior working mechanisms of the observation car that sits at the very end of the train. It's got a light in the back that lights up this logo, the Alaska Railroad logo, and these 2 marker lights on the side turn red. And I'll show you the interior workings of this car as well. Let's get right down to it and show you what's inside a Kato Smoothside passenger car and put some lights in it. What you're going to need to light kit a Kato Smoothside car: maybe some glasses, some magnifying light, and of course you're probably going to need some track with some power on it so you can test your lights. Or you can just get a 9-volt battery. So let's go see it, shall we? Okay, I'm going to show you the insides of these cars and install some light kits in at least one of them. We have to the left is a coach car. In the middle there's a dome observation car. And on the rear we have the rear observation car. Let's take a look at a little bit closer view of each one of these cars. Okay, we have here a Kato Alaska Railroad Smoothside passenger car. This is actually a coach car, and we're going to be taking a look at putting a light kit inside this one. And I'll also show you the insides of this dome car, dome observation car, and the inside of this observation car. As you can see, we have somewhat detailed interior. I mean, it is NScale, so it's about as detailed as you can get. I mean, really up close, this is an HD, so it really pops out as the blue and the yellow. Really makes it look more authentic. I've seen these in person and they do look pretty close to what I see there, you know, in Fairbanks when I was there. You can see the details up close on the trucks. They look almost like the real thing. I haven't really compared picture to picture with these models, but they do look pretty close. Something I would expect to see on the railroad. as we can see inside a lot of these cars, you got your bench seats. They're all pretty much colored the same color, a tan or white kind of coloring to it. Makes it stand out a little bit more when you're looking at it from the outside. Okay, let's show you how to put some lights in here. Okay, what we have here is the lighting kit to go with one of these Smoothside cars. You have two brass pickups right here. You have the LED cartridge. It sits in just like that. As you can see, the LED is right here in the middle, that little yellow spot right in there. And that's the LED. These little things go on in front of the LED to change it from they change it from incandescent to indirect light. It's sort of like a little light filter. And I'll show you how to put those on. This is part of the lens. It goes in, mounted in the top of the cover of the car. This is where the LED comes in on that side. This little notch with a little bump right here, there's going to be a little plastic tube that is going to fit right in between that groove right there. And that's where it's going to line up inside the top of the car. All these little nubs right here on like this side here, one right there on both sides, those all line up and fit wedged into the top of the car. And I'll show you how to put that in. For this job, my eyes are not that great, so I use one of these magnifying glasses. It's got a light on the inside of it, and I can see pretty good with it with my reading glasses. As you can see, it's got a pretty good power to it. Well, the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these incandescent filters on to give it the indirect light. And I've taken some of these off. It came in a 6-pack of light kits. The easiest way I found is, well, you can either use a X-Acto knife, or I just used my fingernails, and just kind of got right down here where it was attached. Just kind of wiggle it off slowly and just twist a little bit, and off it comes. You got to take that black circuit board out of the white case, and right on the edges, right in there are two clips, one on each side, and the board is notched a little bit, and on the back side right in there you see a little black dot. That's a little notch too. There's a little kind of like a pin that sticks in there to line it all up when you put it back in. Well, to get it apart, you just kind of spread these two apart, and you get one side up. I get my fingernails in there. And out comes the LED. Now you have that case. Put the LED down. Now comes the tough part. This is the front. So I have to get that lens to sit right in here, and it only fits one way. There's a little notch right in here, and if you can see on here or not, get a little closer, you can see that there's a little lowered piece that's right there on your left hand side, and that fits down just like in this direction. Oh, there we go, just like that. Getting it in there is a little bit more difficult because it's loose and doesn't like to go where you want it to, and your fingers are too big. And this piece is a little small. But I am lucky right now and got it to fit in there, just like that. Just kind of slid it down there and hold it with my finger, and that's where it sits. You can see how that sits right in there. Little pieces here, they kind of hook onto the side of the plastic so it doesn't move forward. It kind of locks it in there. And when you put that circuit board back on, it holds it down in there. So at this point, you kind of have to be a little careful when you put it back in. You can see right on the back side, right in here, there's a couple of grooves on each side. And that's where the leads go on the circuit board. So they're going to sit right inside there. So once those are lined up, you got it in the right spot, and it should snap right back in. So it's like a chair, sort of. Take the circuit board, and I just kind of slide it right down in there. The little notch that's on the back, right there, has to go in that little tiny hole right there in the center. Okay, once you get it in there, things start snapping back together. As you can see, right on this edge up here, you can see how the circuit board is a little notched. That's where it's going to sit right there in the front when you put it in. Okay, let's try this. You got to keep extra special care to not move your lens. You just dropped in there, so it's got to keep everything flat. Oh, I just dropped it. That's going to happen. Okay, after I picked up that lens off the floor, I got this piece centered down into sort of the notch where I need to have it. I'm getting ready to kind of like snap it in. So I kind of push on the front and push down. I usually get one side of it in. You can see that little white piece fit in that front notch. Get on the other side and just kind of push it back in there so that this other piece snaps in. So now it's holding that board flush against the back of this piece, and the little notches inside that hole, and these metal contacts are lined up inside the grooves that were in this white plastic piece. Now, one of the tricks I found is after you put it back in, these metal leads tend to have gotten bent a little bit, and you'll probably bend yours as well. So you need to have them pushed back as much as you can into these grooves before you put it back into car. So what I do is I take this and I grab both sides, I slightly bend it back so that the metal pieces are actually now pushing against the white holder. As you can see, this indirect light cover is now installed over the top of the LED, and it sits in just like this. The contacts from the clips that we're going to put in touch on these silver contacts. Okay, now we got to take off this cover, and as you can see, it shouldn't be too hard, right? And it really isn't. There's a number of ways you could take it off. Usually it's spreading the sides just like that and just kind of pulling out the bottom. If you want, you can put in a screwdriver. I don't really want to use a screwdriver and wedge it out. You kind of scratch it up a little bit too much, and I don't want to scratch up my brand new toy here. Well, actually not a toy, but a brand new car for my hobby. So what I did was I took and I picked a side, doesn't matter what side, and I went down on one end, found a good spot where I can grip the sides of the car, and I pull off on the side, and then I take and I grabbed with my fingernail one of the trucks and get underneath and lift out of it, and it pulls it out just a little bit. Then on the other side, I just picked up one side and out it comes. Okay. Now what you need to do is remember what the orientation is of the cars with the cover. So the bottom and the top are going to have to go back on the same exact way. Now there's only one way to put it in, because basically the light bar that we're going to put into the cover really only fits in one way. And so you're going to have a shorter side, which is going to be about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. It's going to be down about 3/4 of an inch from here. Okay. So I'm going to put that down. And as you can see, we have the inside of this car. And not too fancy, but it's there, What I was thinking about doing was cutting off some people's legs, with little tiny plastic people, and gluing them into the seats on this car, or maybe even walking down the aisle, something like that. You can even probably paint the inside of the floor a little bit so it looks more like it's carpeted or something. You can really go in there and detail it out if you really want to. Not going to do that right now. I don't have that kind of time. But as you can see on the inside of the car, there is two different sides. You have this side here. As you notice, there's not a whole lot there, just a couple of clips holding the seats in to the frame. And on this side you have these two slots right here, this one and this one. This is where these little clips are going to go, and they just slide right in. Slide them all the way in. And they're there. They sit just like that. Now, the next part is we got to put in the LED. This is probably one of the toughest things to do. If you don't get it lined up right, you're not going to light up your LED. What you're going to have to do is get the plastic piece behind this side of it, and the metal contacts have to be on this side of the clips. But these clips like to move. They like to move side to side, so I usually have to kind of grip them together when I put it in so that it lines up correctly. If not, you got to pull it out, and sometimes the metal contact slides behind on the other side of this contact, and that's not good. So what I'm going to do is try and put this in as easy as possible. Now what I found is that the passenger cars, the coaches, are the easiest ones to put in. Didn't know why, but they were. And right in here you have this little gap down at the bottom. This little gap needs to go in between or over the top of this little notch. That keeps it lined up. So here we go. Trying to line it up as best you can. I kind of sit it down in there. And as of course I did not get them all lined up behind the contact, so I kind of hold it in there, slide it down as best I can. And I don't know if you can see this, but right here you can see that the metal silver contact is on the other side of this copper brass contact, and it's lined up in the middle of it on both sides. Here you can probably see it right there. I have it kind of lined up right in there. So basically, get those lined up. I kind of squeeze them in there and get them in. The coach cars slide in really easy. The other cars, not so much. So there we go. We got the light unit inside the coach car, and it will light up. If we put it on the track right now, it'll be pretty bright. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm going to show you how to put in the lens. You have a little ridge running alongside on both sides of the plastic. And on one side it's painted with this white stripe and down to a wider end. I thought originally that this wider end is where you put the LED. It's not. It's this end that needs to be in front of the LED. I don't know exactly why, but I think the light comes down and hits this and kind of flecks out more on the other end of the car. Makes a more even light source, I guess. But when you put it in, you're going to be putting this in upside down. So you're putting it in from the bottom. The painted side needs to go to the top of your cover. If you can see right in here, there is a little bump right there. And part of the plastic is going to fit right in there. There's a little notch that I was showing you earlier. And then if you can see right down here, there's some little white plastic pieces. There's some lenses that are mounted on the inside of the car. And on each lens they have a little nub. There's one there, there's one right here, and there's one down here at the other end. Okay, those are going to line up with the little bumps that are right here on your lens. Now what I do is I usually work from one end and hold it in and kind of wedge it in there. Okay, put the painted side down. And I kind of put it in. I get the first set of notches to line up with the bumps that are inside the cover. which makes this end about 3/4 of an inch from the inside of the cab where your LED is going to sit. So I line that up and kind of get them both in there, press down a little bit, and slide the rest of the unit inside. Line them all up and then just kind of press it in. Well, almost. Sometimes it doesn't work. Just snap. I heard a snap on the other end. It snapped in, and then I just kind of wedge it in so I can see the pin inside that one notch. That way I know it's in the right spot. Okay, there's that little pin right there. Right in there, you can see that it's wedged right between the plastic nub there and that curved part of the plastic lens. And that means that all these are lined up in the right spot. It's a nice little alignment pin that they have put in there. I like that a lot once I figured out that that's what that was for. I was thinking about cutting off that piece of plastic. I thought it was an extra piece of flashing that I didn't need, but all of them had the same piece of flashing. So, well, it must be there for a reason, and now I know. So that's how you put the lens in. Now you can see the short end here, about 3/4 of an inch from here to there. And the long end, there's a lot more space over on this end. This is the end we do not want where the LED is. We want this end. So you find the base of your car to go with your lid or cover, and since you got the short end with the LED, you just line it up, put it back on, and it snaps right in. Snap, snap, all done. And there we have it. We just put a light kit inside of a Kato Smoothside passenger car. And as I promised you, I was going to show you the insides of this dome observation car. And next I'll show you the inside of the observation car and some neat little things about that. As before, it's got my fingernails in there. Just kind of turn the truck a little bit. Pop it out, grab the other end, get one side of it, boom, there it goes. And you can see the inside of it looks like the coach car. You have forward facing seats, you have some, looks like some bigger private rooms that they put in there, and of course you got the hallway and everything else to walk down. And I'm assuming there's probably a set of stairs right in this area of your car to go up to the upper level of the dome observation car. As you can see, there's the dome observation car. Get a little bit of focus and get right in on there. As before, I've got a light kit inside here. The seats are just a piece of plastic that's mounted up inside the top of it, right up in here. Observation car at the very end. You can tell it's supposed to be at the end because, well, it's nice and contoured at the end. What's nice about in here is that the logo, lights up when the lights are on. Even if you don't have the light kit in here, there's a light already in here to light up the back logo and these side marker lights, which glow red. And I'll show you the inside of those. This unit down here is a little bit tighter. So I think I'm going to work from that end and pull that end out first. There you go. Comes right out easy when you work from the correct end. Set this aside. Now on the end of the train you have a light bulb mounted right in the bottom. And that light bulb, you can gain access to it through the little cover right down in here. You get access to this cover, little screwdriver, and it pops right off. And you can see inside here it just has a couple contacts to contact your metal contacts on the wheels, and that's how they put that in there. And those contacts run up to this light to make it work. And you can put this cover back on. I don't need it off. Just want to show you the inside of it. It snaps right back in place. Okay. In the observation car, this is kind of got some side looking seats, and you can kind of in a semicircle around the side of the car. People sit in the back of the car and look out the back of the train. It's maybe even a smoking room, or some executive cars would have it as a sort of like a conference room. You know, you're at the back of the train, you got a nice view, and you're sitting there talking about spending billions of dollars on something. You know, sure, why not? But that's the observation car, and you have some interior rooms inside the observation car. Some seats in here, some other seats up toward the back, some more observation windows. It's just there for a nice relaxing place to sit while you're riding on a train. As you can see, there's a red piece of plastic in here, sort of a plastic lens, and the light is going to come bounce right in there, and it separates off to the sides to turn on these red lights there. And then this whole thing just kind of glows out the back logo. And I'm going to put in the LED side first. That's kind of how I took it apart. Snap that in. And there you go. It's all back together. Now, I really like this car. One thing I did notice when I first got it was that these, I'm not sure what it is, could be antenna, look more like a baggage carrier to me, but I don't think you'd want to put your baggage on top of a moving train. But whatever it was there for, most likely an antenna, you had these pins that hold the antenna wire on. One of them was actually pulled out, so they are kind of loose. They could kind of be pulled out, and it was kind of like not in there, just hanging on there. So had to kind of push it back in there, lift up some of the pieces and line them all up again and put them back in the proper place. One minor glitch in this whole purchase that I got. So there you have it. You have a review of how to put in lights in the interior of some of these cars. Okay, as you can see, it's all lit up inside. You can kind of see the seats. The LED is very bright. This video kind of enhances the brightness of the light, so it does look a lot brighter on this video than it actually is. But when the pitch blackness of this room, it really shines and lights up the ceiling where I have my main layout currently. And as you push it along, the lights can flicker because of contact. Could also be because the LEDs are a little loose in the holders. One thing that I'm thinking about trying is putting some tape on the LED holder and kind of, tape it to the inside of the seat area, keep it from moving and getting loose. And that red LED, or not LED, red light, because it was looks like an incandescent bulb that's in there. And this is currently on DC, and it lights up just fine on DCC as well. Here's a close-up of the back end of the observation car. You can see the Alaska Railroad logo is lit up and the red marker lights. The red in this video doesn't look as red as it really does in real life. It's more of a real red looking, but because the light is in there, it kind of makes it reflect a little bit more. But you can see that it is red, and it does look pretty good. I do have the voltage down a lot. It's almost just barely on, so that you can see the logo. If I turn the voltage up, you can see that it got a lot brighter, and I just can't see the logo. So I turn it down a little bit, and so it's just barely on. I'm going to turn it off, turn it on, and there you go. Looks pretty good to me. What do you think, NScale Man Cave Rail fans? Hey guys, well, there you have it. That is how to put in lighting kit into a Kato Smoothside passenger car. And I showed you the interiors of the observation car and the dome observation car. Now for those of you who want to come back, the next video is any number of different ideas that I have in my mind. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I might just go and buy some decoders to put in my Alaska E8 engines. I got 3 engines. I got an E8A, 2 of those, and an E8B. So they're going to need some decoders, and I'm going to have to put some in. So stop by next time to DeBob's NScale Man Cave, and we'll see what we find. Shall we? Have a good day. Choo choo! There it is.